Hi guys, this is Cloud9. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the 2019 Intel-based MacBook Pro. This thing is the last iteration of the Intel-based MacBook Pros. And what makes these special are the fact that they're really cheap compared to when they were new. When they were new, they cost over £2,000. I think this one probably cost around £2,500. However, they're not very expensive now. And I actually managed to buy mine for £500 on eBay earlier this January. And it's been a blast. However, it's not perfect, and I'm going to be talking about whether you should buy this or not. The first thing you notice about the 16-inch MacBook Pro is the design. It is absolutely stunning. It's very sleek, and for £500, I can't imagine buying something that feels this expensive. You know, it really does feel like a 2,000 something pound laptop, and at least my one in particular is very well built. It's very sturdy. It feels very good in terms of quality. This model boasts a 16-inch Retina display, and it's very crisp, very vibrant. It's a pleasure to use. However, it's nowhere as smooth as Apple's newer MacBook Pro 120Hz displays. I don't need the high refresh hertz display, but it does feel a bit laggy sometimes, and I think that probably is a sign of its age. I would also add that as the laptop weighs around 2 kg, it's not the lightest laptop. It does feel a little bit heavy. However, it's got a large, slim form factor, so you don't really notice that weight as much. And when you sit down, if the laptop is on your knees or your thighs, that's not really an issue. However, it is more comfortable to place on a table. There is apparently said to be an improved keyboard compared to older laptops from Apple that had the butterfly mechanism. I can just say that it's very easy to type, it's very comfortable, and it's really nice to write an essay on this thing. The ports on this laptop, however, might actually be a controversial issue, and I can definitely see why Apple made some big changes with their newer laptops. All this laptop has is 4 USB-C ports. Now, that's not an issue for me personally, but I have found that to really make the most out of the MacBook Pro, you need a dongle. And I think that was probably a really big issue when it first came out back in 2019. I think now we've sort of standardized the use of dongles. But if you want to use a mouse, a keyboard, a micro SD card or anything else, you have to use a dongle and carry it around everywhere. Now let's get to the real pro of why you want to buy this laptop, and that is price to performance. This laptop in particular has an Intel-based i7 from 2019 and 32GB of RAM, as well as 500GB of SSD storage. And honestly, for my needs, it's absolutely enough. I found when using this laptop that it is very easy to video edit. I video edit on CapCut and DaVinci Resolve, and honestly, the laptop is just fine, assuming you're okay with a little bit of stuttering when etching. However, if you connect this to a nice monitor, the playback is very nice. It was not the fastest, but it does the job. And like I said, for the price, I think it's really good. Yes, you could possibly buy a used gaming PC or gaming laptop, which will likely handle better in terms of performance-intensive applications and actually have a GPU. But I think for what this is, it honestly is great. The improved thermal design of this laptop means that I think it's a somewhat stable laptop in terms of temperature. It doesn't get too hot and it's comfortable to use. But the issue is the fans. The fans will kick in whenever you need to do something really intensive, and they're not just like any fans. They're really, really loud fans. And I think if you look at Reddit and the kind of people that use this laptop in the past, they would actually complain a lot about the fans. And it's true. This laptop will turn into like a wind turbine or like a jumbo jet because it's so loud. There is an app that you can use to switch on that really excessive fan noise by switching off the turbo boost. It's nowhere as quiet as MacBook Pros from today. Now, one of the biggest reasons you probably don't want to buy this laptop is the battery life. And I think for me, this is the biggest deal breaker. And it's a huge jump when you look at the battery life of Apple's own silicon laptops. This battery life on the 16-inch MacBook Pro from Intel is absolutely rubbish. Whenever I go outside and I take this laptop with me, I need to take a charger, and maybe like on a good day, like I might last maybe 4 or 5 hours. I think 6 hours is quoted, but in reality, if you do anything intensive, it's going to go down quick, and you really have to use the laptop sensibly if you want to extend that battery life. And I think it's an issue because, you know, MacBook Pros are the kind of laptops you want them to be portable, take them anywhere, use them on a sofa. But with this battery life, it does make the laptop much harder. And, you know, I do think that it could be a deal breaker. Like if you're someone who's going to use this laptop and travel a lot, the question is, should you use this budget MacBook Pro over a much newer Apple-based silicon MacBook Pro. My opinion is actually, I think you should go for the more expensive Apple MacBook Pro. Now, yes, although this is quite good for its price, what I have found is that it's just not as smooth and not as good of an experience as the much newer MacBook Pros. And yes, you might be paying £500 more. You might be paying £1,000, £1,100 for a used M1 Max MacBook Pro compared to this. But that M1 Max MacBook Pro will be such a jump in terms of price performance and in terms of battery life and just usability. It really is a no-brainer. And I think when I got this laptop, it was really good because I had a limited budget. But, you know, I really do find that there are limitations with the laptop. One of the reasons I got this laptop was actually to use VMware and run virtualization on this laptop. So, you know, run like my Linux VMs, my Red Hat VMs, whatnot. And actually, I had Googled or Reddited that the Intel-based processors were actually much better for that task. However, I have found in reality, maybe it's just Mac OS, but this laptop is really bad for virtualization. You know, my VMs are just terrible. They're really laggy when I do actually even get them to work. And most of the time I can't even get them to work. And I don't know if they're any better on the Apple-based silicon, but honestly, like, I'm not really impressed with how this laptop has managed virtualization. And I might need to test out running a Windows boot camp to see if it's any better. But for my needs, which in particular was video editing, it's great, and I am quite satisfied. And honestly, the laptop does the job for me. I also have dabbled with Visual Studios, and I definitely do think that the MacBook Pro is really, really nice for coding. You have this feature where you can put your 3 fingers on the trackpad and switch screens, and it just makes the usability of the MacBook Pro so much nicer. It's almost as if you've got 2-3 sets of monitors at your fingertips. And I wish Windows had the ability to implement a feature like that. Oh yeah, the last thing I didn't talk about is the touch bar. The touch bar is really nice. I really like it. I think it's aesthetically really modern. It's really futuristic. And the first thing I thought when I saw the touch bar is, how could Apple get rid of something that's so cool? I think in practical usability, it's not actually that useful, and it is a bit awkward sometimes when you just want to press a window, when you just want to press a button to open this or that. I definitely think it's really cool, and I think it should be something that makes a return in the newer laptops. To wrap this video up, I think the MacBook Pro is an excellent choice if you want a budget, classy laptop that will do most video editing and creative tasks, not including tasks that would require 3D rendering such as Blender or whatnot. I think it's just a really nice high quality laptop for £500. You know, it's fantastic. And I don't really know how you could possibly buy a laptop that's at this price range and better quality, unless you're going something for performance, in which case a used gaming laptop would be an option. However, even though they're cheap, they're not a great bargain when you compare the fact that the Apple newer M1, M2 processors have such a huge performance leap, and they're amazing in battery life, and they've got a 120Hz screen. I do think that my next MacBook Pro is probably going to be a 16-inch M1 Max or something on par. But in the meantime, this laptop is doing great, and it's definitely accommodating my needs. Thanks guys for watching. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more videos.